SABC, host broadcaster of the G20 South Africa 2025.
As we mark the 5-day countdown to the G20 Leaders Summit as the host broadcaster, the SABC will broadcast on all 3 of its platforms, radio, television and digital services, in covering all the information and happenings. This has been an ongoing project that began when South Africa took over the G20 Presidency almost a year ago. And there you're getting a nice sneak preview into the set, and everything is getting ready to bring you everything from that summit. Well, Sakina is joined by Nomsa Chabeli, who is, of course, the SABC Group Chief Executive Officer, who's going to tell us a lot more about it. Sakina, I'm not sure if you've got some visuals in front of you, but certainly looking fantastic. And yeah, it's going to be really something special to be a part of. Let me hand it over to you.
Well, thanks so much, Leanne. And of course, it certainly is going to be. And of course, we have SABC to make sure that you have uninterrupted coverage of all the proceedings. And we have been covering a lot of these events leading up to this weekend's G20 Leaders Summit. And these events have been super, super important in terms of crafting those memoranda that the leaders will be engaging on the weekend. And SABC, the official broadcaster of Africa's G20 Summit. I'm joined now by the Group Chief Executive Officer of the SABC, Ms. Nomsa Chabeli. Thanks so much for coming through. And it obviously is an absolute honor, but also a great responsibility for the SABC.
Thanks, Sakina, for having me. Certainly, SABC is very proud to serve as the host broadcaster for the G20. It's such an immense honor for us, particularly because, as a public broadcaster, we are very much responsible for ensuring, inclusivity and access, not just to South Africans, but most importantly, as a host broadcaster, we are going to be beaming this very important, global gathering to the rest of the world.
And speaking of beaming it to the rest of the world, we, of course, audio, visual, and we will be live streaming on the digital platforms. That, of course, is critically important to make sure that people can access this in any which way they choose to.
We've actually deployed a very integrated, digital broadcast platform for the G20, occasion. And what we've done is that we are going to be present at the G20 precinct, and we are going to be live 24/7 on our OTT streaming platform, which is SABC Plus. We also have 2 broadcast studios that are going to be based there, that are going to be really giving content to SABC 404, to our free-to-air channels, but also to the international feed that we will be broadcasting to not just the G20 19 members, but also to the rest of the world, including, the news feeds. We also have 5 of our radio stations that are going to be based there. That's Metro FM, SAFM, RSG, Ikwekwezi, and Channel Africa, which is going to be broadcasting to the rest of Africa, which is very important because what the SABC is going to be doing, it's not just a technical feed, but most importantly, we will be, discussing the key themes that are coming out of the G20. We will be giving an African perspective and ensuring that the rest of Africa is not just watching, but also fully participating in the proceedings.
And of course, the issue of language and access to these proceedings, equally important, and SABC, of course, best placed to make sure that we bring that to South Africa and Africa.
Certainly, with the unified digital platforms that we're going to be having, including, the traditional radio and TV, we are actually going to be broadcasting in all 12, languages. That includes sign language, which is very critical for us, because it's all about inclusivity and giving a platform for all South Africans to actually participate. So by the immenseness of just that reach, you can imagine that all South Africans will be able to access and to be able to be part of the very important proceedings that will be taking place. So it will be across all the 12 languages in South Africa, but importantly, it's going to be also available, not just radio, not just TV, but social platforms as well, which are very important, especially from driving, that that important discussions that are going to be taking place across the different segments of our society. So that's very important. But also, the 24/7 availability of SABC Plus, which is now sitting at more than 1.6 million registered users, is going to play a very key role. We have a pop-up channel specifically for G20. We'll be starting the broadcast with the B20 that will be taking place, going to the social summit, then obviously ramping it up to the actual summit itself that will be taking place over the weekend.
And of course, it means a massive deployment for the SABC, all hands on deck.
It's a very big deployment, only surpassed by the national government elections that took place last year. But what's important here is that, we've looked at both our broadcast technical requirements, we've looked at our editorial, infrastructure, which is very critical. And what you're going to be seeing, more than 260 SABC employees have been deployed. They're going to be at the precinct, but also based in the different provinces, ensuring that, there's inclusivity, ensuring that all our platforms are participating fully. So it's an exciting period for us. This is a very important, trust that the government has placed in the SABC, but most importantly, that South Africans have placed, that we are able to broadcast, we are able to drive that inclusivity, bring information that is credible, that is true, and that is relevant in ensuring that, we drive that messaging to South Africa. But I think, Sakina, also what's important, this is testament to our role as South Africa's greatest archivist, because what we will be doing here for the next couple of days is really archiving some of the greatest history in South Africa, ensuring that, this information is available for the next generations to come. And that's critical for a public broadcaster that's driving inclusivity, that's driving national unity. But also SABC plays a very important role in ensuring that South Africa is truly a capable state, that is digitally present, that is global. And that's the role that we're going to play, not just talking to South Africans, but being the gateway broadcaster to the rest of the world.
Well, there you heard it from the Group Chief Executive Officer of the South African Broadcasting Corporation, SABC, Nomsa Chabeli. And we are here to make sure that you have wall-to-wall coverage of the G20. And this week, particularly critical, as has all of the other lead-up events been. But of course, that Leaders Summit that culminates on Sunday will be there to make sure you have everything live and direct at your fingertips. Don't forget, if you haven't yet downloaded it, the SABC Plus app. And as you heard, we all over, radio, TV, digital. Download the app. All you have to do is register and you're good to go. So stay with us here on SABC for comprehensive coverage of the G20. It's time to take a quick break, and then Leanne will be back with you after this.
SABC, host broadcaster of the G20 South Africa 2025.